Brown.com. Well, the real president and his administration are always quick to dismiss any criticism that comes from this network. But as we showed you at the top of the show, the heat has been coming in from all sides. Even one of the president's biggest fans in the media, Chris Matthews, is questioning his leadership.
What part of the presidency does Obama like? He doesn't like dealing with other politicians. That means his own candidate. That means the members of the Congress, either party. He doesn't particularly like the press. What part of it does he? He likes to write the speeches. He likes to rewrite what Fabro and the others wrote for the first draft. But what part does he really like? He likes going on the road campaigning, visiting businesses like he does every couple of days somewhere in Ohio or somewhere. What part does he like? Because he doesn't like lobbying for the bills he cares about. He doesn't like selling to the press, the way most people do, to get their stories out there. Does he like actually giving orders or giving somebody the power to give orders? No, he doesn't seem to like to be an executive.
Wow. You know, it reminds me of the great blues song by B.B. King, The Thrill Is Gone. Well, joining us now is editor of AboveTheLaw.com, Ellie Mistel, and communications director for California Congressman Dana Rohrabacher, Tara Setmayer. Great to have both of you guys here.
Thank you.
All right, Tara, the person in charge of the IRS division that was targeting all these conservative groups is now going to go over and handle the health care part of Obamacare with the IRS. How concerned should Americans be?
They should be very concerned. They should have been concerned when Obamacare was getting rammed through Congress in the first place. People are finally paying attention and realizing, wait a minute, I'm paying how much in taxes? It's going to cost us how much? These people at the IRS who are like stormtroopers, everyone, the IRS is the most feared agency in the world, next to maybe the KGB. And, you know, people say, wait, these are the people that are going to be tasked with enforcing, making sure everyone has health insurance. It is a disaster. This woman, she got $103,000 in bonuses, taxpayer-funded money. She was basically promoted, and she oversaw this targeting of conservative groups, religious groups, and things like that, and she's getting basically a promotion. You're telling me that no one knows what's going on here?
Ellie, Stephen Miller, appearing before the Ways and Means Committee, actually sat there with a straight face and said that the reason this happened was that they were just trying to be so efficient.
Look,
serious.
First of all, what's a promotion point, though? Let's not forget, Stephen Miller was fired. He's gone. Now, I understand. Obama did not take him out into the middle of Times Square and flog him, like perhaps a lot of people would want, but he is, in fact, gone. What Miller was trying to say, and I think this is a fair point, right? When you apply for tax-exempt status, does that make you immediately above the law? Can we not ask a question as to whether or not your application is correct? I think that that's what they were trying to do. Did they do it correctly? No. Were they perhaps a bit overzealous? Sure. But it's a legitimate question, right?
But do we as taxpayers and those of us who are targeted for the IRS, do we get to have that convenient excuse? Oh, sorry, I didn't know. No, you end up in jail. They take your business. They take
I don't think this should be. I don't think this should be.
We don't get that.
I don't think this should be in the purview of the IRS. I think this should be in the purview of Congress. If the do-nothing Congress had acted and given us better guidelines as to what constitutes a charitable organization or not, we wouldn't be in this.
Okay, but Ellie, let me ask you this. Ellie,
come on.
Here's the question. The problem is not that they went through the forms and were diligent. They were only diligent with one side. They didn't apply that diligence to left-wing groups. That's equal protection, 14th Amendment.
I think that's a case-by-case basis. I think there are a lot of progressive groups in Texas right now who are saying, wait a minute, I didn't know it was illegal for the IRS to ask me a lot of questions.
Really?
I think the point is that, look, the point is that this has gotten very partisan in terms of what constitutes charitable organizations and what constitutes a political organization. We live in a culture, right, where one of the most charitable things you can do, which I would say like giving coupons to hungry people, that's been politicized. Food stamps have been politicized. So if we can't even agree on whether or not food stamps are charity, certainly I think it's okay to say that the IRS should not be in the business of making these determinations. Congress should be.
Okay, so we can have a different discussion about whether the tax code should be what it is, but this is what it is. And I would like someone to come out and say what Muslim groups were targeted this way. Were there any Muslim groups asked what prayers that they pray? No. What progressive organizations like Acorn and all of these social justice organizations, were they asked what prayers they pray? Who's on their donor list? No, they weren't. And that's the issue here. Don't deflect away and blame the frickin' tax code for what these people are doing, targeting us. It's an enemy.
I generally don't think that two wrongs generally don't make a right. So saying like, oh, let's go after Muslims now to even the score doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, that's not what I said. I said, can we name that happening? No, it didn't. The point that the governor made was this was a one-sided, clearly targeted thing for people who didn't agree with this administration. The ones that didn't agree on the administration's policy with Israel, the ones that were Tea Party folks questioning this government's overreach.
By people who have been held accountable for that.
No, you are using.
Like, are you interested?
The guy was going to, his term was going to end 1 week later.
Are you interested?
Convenient resignation.
Are you interested in signing blame? Are you interested in assigning blame, or are you interested in fixing the problem? If you're interested in fixing the problem, then the focus needs to be on Congress. If you're interested in assigning blame, like I said, Obama can take people to Times Square and do what you want with them.
It's not blame. It's accountability. Either or. That's what liberals always do. It's either or. No, it's accountability. The government is supposed to be accountable to the people, and in this instance, they need to be accountable. Congress can try and fix the tax law. We've been trying to do that forever. How about a fair tax? So you only need one.
There we go.
Here we go.
I'm for that. I'm for a fair tax.
We can have the discussion.
And by the way, both of you, I want to say thanks for being here. But you know, the great thing you just brought up, the fair tax. Here's why that would be wonderful. Not only does it transform the economy, but I think even more importantly, it gets rid of the IRS. You don't have these bureaucrats deciding on what's right and what's wrong. And obviously, we've got to have both of you guys back because this is kind of fun. I think we'll sell tickets. We'll have popcorn. This will be wonderful. Ellie, always a pleasure to have you. And Tara, great to have you with us tonight. And thank you for joining us. I assure you, there's much more to be talked about as to whether the IRS can burst into your home and ask you, in fact, demand to find out what you prayed last night. You better say your prayers. We'll be saying ours. Until next week. From New York, this is Mike Huckabee. Good night. God bless.